I also wasn't recording for that, so I'm going to repeat something I just said. But shout out for Kathy for posting this, by the way. Leave a link over to their socials in the video description. But again, Dengeki posts important information that should be in the operation report and in the headline. So version 2 4th anniversary interview with series director Taka Himazaki. I probably said his name completely wrong, blah, 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 blah. Let's go ahead and go through this. So apparently there's important information in here, and we're going to kind of skim through this. You can read through it if you want. I'll leave a link in the video description to it. There's been any changes to the player base since the past 4 years. There hasn't been a big change. There are 25% are new players from NGS, 75% are continuing players from PSO2. There hasn't been a sudden increase in new players, and old players haven't left. So the balance remains the same. That's surprising. People would have you believe the game is dying and no one's playing anymore. But what you find is that people tend to talk about them leaving and they actually are still playing. So, funny enough. A number of core users to watch the official broadcast all seems to be stable. Yes, we share the same views. Okay, so pretty standard. On the other hand, it would be difficult to increase the number of new users from now on. There are currently many new players joining the global version. In Japan, it has been 13 years since PSO2 was released. The portion of players returning is high. When do most players return? There are lots of Superstar festivals and Super Genesis festivals where certain player numbers of users who come back when they get lots of SG. Yeah, so basically they're using events to pull players back in, which is pretty standard. Interesting. I like to ask a question based on the published roadmap. First of all, about the Alter Realm. What kind of field will it be? Roughly speaking, it's tied to future storylines. It's a place that can be reached from a rift called the Dimension Ripper that appeared in Halpha. It's an unknown place for the arcs of Halpha, and players will be heading there to investigate dangers and possibility of hostile beings appearing. I think it'd be best to imagine this space connecting to the mysterious appearance and limited time emergency quest Shadow of the Starfall. Okay, yeah. What was your intention in shifting the release dates of the interception section and the battle section? As a policy for content distribution, we try to create an environment where users can easily gather. If we distribute content at the same time, players will be scattered and it will be difficult to gather, or people will be confused about which one to play, which I think will be a good hurdle. That's why we made this distribution plan, to say that it's a good idea to play here now. Basically what they're trying to say is like, why did you stagnate, or why did not stagnate, but why did you stagger releases of specific things? And the way they mention is basically we want to make sure that we funnel players into specific pieces of content at certain times, which isn't a bad thing, but you also want to continue evergreen content, which is something PSO2 lacks. Also, from the perspective of dropped items, there's a discussion of which is better. We're aiming to avoid such a situation where only one ends up being played. It's a little better now, like these days, but we'll have to see how they go about this. Is Alter Realm a type of field where you go in a quest order format? Yes, like the Exploration Zone, Lucille, and Nameless City, it's a type of quest that you can take on by accepting. Okay. But it's not cross-ship, so I'm curious why they did that. You can't defeat the boss within a time limit. Will the boss escape? Although the trial itself has a time limit, it is set at a relatively long 30 minutes. So it's unlikely that you'll be unable to beat the boss even if you try your best. I am going to be very surprised if it takes more than 30 minutes to take something like this down. It's going to be hilarious. In PSO2's Ultimate, the normal enemies were also quite tough, but will Alter Realm have similar balance? No, it's not as strong as Ultimate. You can think of it as content that is a mixture of strong and weak enemies, tough enemies, and relatively easy enemies. I was kind of hoping he'd say yes. Kind of hoping he'd say yes on that. I'll have to see. There's a new field update from October to November and December to January, but is this related to Alter Realm? Yes, we're planning to release a new field update with a different motif from the one shown in the PV. We're currently planning to continue releasing new fields after February of next year. What will the new Nameless City be about, written after February 2026? It's still a long way off, so we can't say much, but it's planned to be a separate quest from the Nameless City residential area investigation. We're developing something that will allow players to enjoy in a different way from existing rules. Okay. In the battle section, there's a new action system called EX Style. What is it? I think you think of EX Style as a third class following the main and subclass. For example, a hunter can use EX Style actions while using a sword, or EX Style actions will appear in conjunction with sword attacks. In addition, it will be possible to train, and there will be something like a skill tree. Huh. Interesting. Will training be the same format as Mars skills? There is no dedicated item like the Mars Updater. A portion of the experience gained with the main class will be included, so it is designed that you will naturally become stronger by fighting with the class you normally use. The speed of training is similar to Mars, and you can learn the main skills at an early stage, so it's set up that you don't end up not being able to enjoy the game because new actions are difficult to unlock. Holy crap, they got rid of the Mars bar. You literally can't f this up. You just level. You get experience and it levels. You can't mess it up. Okay, cool. Are there several different types of EX styles? At the time of implementation, they were planning to have 3 types. We would like to add more in the future. Okay, that makes sense. That's why we saw multiples of the same thing and we didn't see every single class included. So there are 3 types of EX styles. They're likely gonna do like a Hunter, Ranger, Force EX style. Holy crap, this is what they're doing instead of other classes. This might actually be pretty smart. This might be pretty smart. Interesting. Yeah, a melee range tech option basically. Because we very obviously saw swords. So we very obviously saw what looked like a rifle and a launcher. And we very obviously saw what looked like tech stuff. So like, I'm assuming that it's Hunter, Ranger, Force EX styles. Scions, I mean EX styles. I mean, to be honest, kind of a step up from Scions if you think about it, because Scions didn't allow you to play your regular class along with it as well. Meaning there's going to be other levels of customization that are going to be involved. So like, are they going to be as good as Scions? We don't know. But there's a very interesting thing that they mentioned. At the time of implementation, we're planning to have 3 types, and we would like to add more in the future. New EX styles coming out later. This is good. This is a good thing. Again, I will repeat that I said earlier, if you guys complain and this gets axed as well, I'm coming for your kneecaps. I'm taking you out because it sounds awesome. All right, there's a tendency for them to be able to be melee or long range, so you can choose according to your own class and play style. Very interesting. Next, regarding skill rings, this is also present in PSO2. So you can imagine it as something like a skill ring in PSO2 is being developed with the assumption that 2 can be attached as equipment slots, separate from weapons and armor. In PSO2, it was positioned as an external class skill that functions for a specific class. But this time we're thinking of an effect similar to an EX special ability. Depending upon the user's playstyle, the skill ring that suits them will change. So we hope that each user will choose it according to their own style. So less in the vein of skills and more like EX special abilities. I wonder if they're gonna, if they will synergize with EX augments. Are there plans to add skill rings? I'm assuming are there plans to add more skill rings? Yes, we plan to add more depending on users' reactions, availability, and usage. That's pretty sick. These are both W things. And again, this needs to be in, like, okay, at the very least, include a video of something like this. Like this is information that needs to be included in things like operation reports. This is massive. You mentioned that an NGS 5th anniversary year-end campaign will begin in February 2026. What kind of measure will that entail? We would like to develop the project throughout the year. We were not only continuing the initiatives we have taken so far, but we are preparing to develop projects that will surprise and delight our users. So please look forward to further updates. They're cooking for next year, and they're flexing that they're cooking, and they won't tell us what it is. We'll see if they cooked or if they burnt. I will be here to tell you. So far, seems like they're cooking. Seems like they're cooking. All right, will it be developed mainly within the game, both in and out of the game? It goes without saying that we want to liven up the in-game experience. We also want to do initiatives that will lead to offline events outside of the game. We're still in the preparation stages, so we can't say anything for sure, but we'll do our best to take this milestone year as exciting as possible. I see Mars Ult implemented at the same time. It seems that Hydra was the most popular in the early days. How is it now? Hydra and Garm remain popular. However, that doesn't mean that Nidhogg and Skyla aren't being used. I think part of it is due to their compatibility with enemies and quests. I think that Hydra and Garm are chosen because they're easy to use and easy to understand when they're effective. So there are no plans to make any major balance adjustments at the moment. So no more nerfs to Hydra. Hydra mains are safe for now. Are you considering any expansions other than balance adjustments? I'm currently consulting with the team about that. We're planning to determine which direction to focus on and what the best direction is, in light of the status of EX style scheduled for release. So the Mars update is one of those options. Extra duels implemented in January this year, but how many players have cleared up to rank 10? Overall, about 10% of the players have reached this level. Since the time of PSO2, the clear rate for high difficulty content has been 5% to 10%. So it is understood that only core players play and clear it. 5 to 10% of players even do difficult content. Interesting. On the other hand, where do the 90% of players get stuck? The most common is rank 10. It's not a matter of difficulty, but many people have reached depth 10 of each rank have reached a milestone. I feel like that is a matter of difficulty, but fair enough. All right. Oh, by the way, are there any plans for new classes? So the new class on the agenda when planning EX style. Even if we implement a new class, the usage rate is at most about 30%. we came to the conclusion that it would be better to implement something like Mars, that a wide range of users can play, and decided to deliver EX style. With that background, we can think that in the future we'll be able to focus more on updates so everyone can overall. Okay, so basically, new class got replaced with EX style. That might be disappointing for some people. I kind of like that. I think class saturation is an issue that games did tend to fall into, and balance tends to get all over the place. Also, you start to run into situations where you get the same situation but with two different flavors, so you have to be very careful in those situations. So bummer for those looking for a different class to play, but EX style might come in and change something up for you. So the final nail in the coffin for Scion Wanters, I don't think that's actually the case. I think the EX style might bring that in for them in a way that they weren't expecting. What does the future hold for NGS? Holy shit, there's still more. The extent that you can. So I'd like to ask what the future is and you can. Are there a lot of battle and other content being distributed? But which do you want to prioritize? Can't answer which one I'll prioritize, but we continue to make player updates like EX style and battle-related updates such as Dark Falls class large bosses. On the other hand, we'll also make non-battle updates such as character creation updates and various improvements to the following animatic face. And we'll also continue to update Line Strike. We're also planning a story related to Alter Realm. This year, the focus is on short episodes, but we are preparing for subsequent distribution. I'll accept your apology now, chat. Those who said I was coping, I'll accept it. Anyway, so much like I assumed, this year is a bunch of short stories. They're working on a story for Alter Realm. Thank you. Anyway, whether or not it's good remains to be seen. We'll see. Creative space. We received feedback from users. We're working on responding to that in some way. We think of the game NGS as a total package, including battles, other content. Will value each piece of content. NGS has a ship system that makes it a little difficult to play. Are you considering integrating ships? We understand that opinion, but we are not considering it at the moment, as it will require a large-scale overhaul. We would like to improve the ease of playing by using all-ship matchmaking for content where server load is an issue and content where it's not. We will continue to try and error. I will continue trial and error, I guess is what they're meaning, in order to find the best solution and plan for easy use for players to play. All right. I mean, that's all really good information. A lot of really, really good things to go on about. Hold on one second. Let me grab something here for you guys really quick. Again, shout out to Kathy for providing this information. Very, very helpful. So things that were of note. So plans for any potential new classes basically turn into EX styles. 3 EX styles on release. EX styles will be leveled using a portion of your experience earned similar to how you leveled Dark Blast back in PSO2. Skill rings are being made to work similar to EX augments instead of class skills like in base, so they will have different synergies in that sort of way. Clear rate for difficult content was around 5 to 10%, which is a lot lower than I thought. Interception sectors are being designed with 8 players in mind, but will allow 32 players, meaning that likely the scaling is going to be for 8 players, not 32 man, meaning that you're not going to really be punished for being in a lower group. So that's actually a pretty solid thing. They're currently planning another piece of content, non-combat related, and there are no new open fields that are going to be planned at this time. Pretty much things are being planned more instance-based. So that's kind of like the primary important stuff here. But yeah, really, really good information. Again, shout out to Kathy for providing that for us. That was super, super helpful for posting that. We'll leave links to their socials in the video description, of course. But yeah, I would like to see stuff like this get included a lot more often. I don't know how to end this video. I am pretty excited for the EX styles. Now that we have a better understanding of how they actually work, I'm not so much concerned that my class is going to feel not interesting, right? That's kind of the problem with new classes as they release, is you tend to run into a situation where things just kind of get overlooked, or they get overshadowed, or they get replaced, and maybe it's a playstyle you enjoyed that seems to not be the thing anymore. This kind of fits everything. So interesting. I'm a fan of what I've seen here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm curious, what's your 2 cents? To be fair, keep in mind that they're planning on releasing more. So that play style that you guys might be looking for could be in EX styles and you don't even realize it yet. That's where it could be. Either way, thanks for watching. Take care, my friends. Peace out.